All right. Thank you, everybody, for connecting on this very special training provided to you by Lone Wolf and the Oregon Real Estate Forums team. I'm very appreciative of everybody that connected in. We want to be gracious with your time there. So we're going to go ahead and get started. I'm John Ashley, coming from the Lone Wolf team, talking about ZipForm today, digging into the ZipForm system, talking about creating transactions, and also talking about creating an e-sign as well. So we're going to be going through a lot of wonderful resources as we're digging in. And like I said, very, very grateful for everybody that chose to join in today. Thank you so much for connecting. For those that are new to Zoom, especially Zoom webinars, I know it's a little different than what you normally see. So what you can see here is we do have audio settings, where we can adjust those audio settings from computer to phone audio. So if you need to adjust between computer and phone audio, you sure can. If you continue to have difficulties hearing me even after trying to adjust audio, be sure to try leaving the session and then coming back in. Try leaving the session and then coming back in. Many times that will make it so that you can reset the system and be able to get everything working properly. Of course, you could also wait for the recording if you need to. If you have any questions, please direct those questions to the Q&A team. So please direct those questions to the Q&A section right here. That way, I can answer those questions along the way. I know we have a chat window, but what many times happens is that people will comment in the chat window and it'll kind of clog up the questions. So go ahead and ask those questions in that Q&A team, okay? That Q&A section. Topics today include signing into transactions, profile settings, navigation bar, in-app resources, creating a new transaction, transaction navigation, how to add parties, forms, and documents. So we're going to be really digging in today, talking about all the different areas that you're going to be able to use to create your transactions and then create your first e-sign as well. Let's go ahead and get logged into the ZipForm system. Don't forget, if you have any questions, please add them into that Q&A box. I'm more than happy to answer any questions at all that may come up along the way. So we're here in the system, or in the ZipForm system. For those that are longtime users, it might look slightly different. We did make some UI adjustments on here. So some user interface adjustments, just adjusting where items are. We moved them all to the top here. We added the question mark here at the top right-hand side. So it's a little different, not too much different though. We didn't change how you go through your steps and how you go step by step through the transaction creation, okay? And like normal, it will automatically default to the transaction creation page. On the bottom right, where it says guided help, this is where you can actually go through a step-by-step to be able to create your transaction. So if you want and need a little extra help creating your transactions, we do that step-by-step right here, one at a time. So you can do that through the guided help if you prefer to use that particular option. But let's go ahead and head to plus new and go through the normal process of creating a transaction. I'm just going to show it to you without the guided help, but I wanted to point out the guided help in case you need a little more assistance with your transaction creation, okay? We're going to be going through a brand new listing as if I was representing a seller. I do want you to understand, though, that every step I go through, every single step I go through will be exactly the same, whether I was doing a new purchase or a new listing or a new, even a new lease on there, lease listing, all the steps will still be the same. So let's go ahead and head here into new listing. I'm going to go ahead and name the listing. I did a 1, 2, 3 test last week. We'll do a 3, 2, 1 test training lane this week, okay? One option that the Oregon Real Estate Forums team has provided you is this MLS Connect feature. So if this listing is already on the market, let's say that you have already put the listing on the market for whatever reason, you can use your MLS Connect feature to be able to bring in the information about the listing into the system. So it is a wonderful system that you can use. You just plug in the MLS listing ID right here, and that will make it so that you can bring over the information for the listing, all those different details, even contact details for that listing, right into the ZipForm system itself. Now, I know I'm doing a brand new listing representing a brand new seller, so at this point, I'm probably not going to have the information in the MLS just yet. But for some of you, you'll already have that all plugged in. So just a good tool if you need something to help you create the listing a little faster. Okay. I'm just going to plug in some details here. I'm out of Kansas City, by the way, so welcome everybody who was willing to join the class today. I appreciate it. Go ahead and head into category. I'm going to select residential. Oh, let's add a fun photo. So I have lots of different photos that I grab. These are real house photos. I got the Bone listing there. I got the Buckingham Palace. Of course, that was a special thing for some kind of British holiday, if I remember right. Oh, let's do the bunker today. That's a fun one, right? So this is a real life bunker. I'll just throw it in there. We also have ZipForm Record Connect before I continue. So if you plug in all the items here, we have this special program called ZipForm Record Connect. This pulls from public records the details about the listing. Okay, so if you can't use MLS Connect because you haven't added the listing to the market yet, that makes perfect sense, right? What you can do instead is use the ZipForm Record Connect to pull from public records the information for that listing. All right, you can then choose the agent if you're a broker, but we'll go ahead and save this now. So that is now saved. And we are now in the initial summary page of the transaction, initial summary page of the transaction. So this is, if you use the MLS Connect feature or the Record Connect feature, it would automatically add in quite a few details for you. I chose to not use either feature just in case you can't use the feature or whatever. But then you would just come in and plug in your additional items on there. And so we'll plug in, for example, you're built, let's say 2005, municipality, whatever might be the case there for that you can fill in. Of course, you may not know all the information just yet. The key is fill in as many details as you can. The more details that you fill out, the easier this is going to be for you later on, okay? So go ahead and get that filled in as much as you can. Listing summary. It's also going to make it so that your forms will automatically have a lot of this information. We're going to be talking about forms here in just a second, but it'll make it so that you can already have a lot of details pre-filled out on that form. All right, I've added in some details. Let's take a quick tour of the summary page so you know everything you're looking at on the summary page. On the left-hand side, you can see e-signings in progress. You can, if you use the task module, you can track your tasks here. We have the ability to be able to see your additional parties right here. This recent history, you can see with the recent history what has been changed on this listing recently. And so you can easily see those adjustments here. The top right, we have some different integrations that you can choose to use if you'd like. So if you ever wanted to look at a marketing tool, we do have an excellent tool called Boost that you can connect with ZipForm. We also have home warranty and title company connections, NHD, natural hazard disclosure. I don't know why I had so much trouble saying that. Sorry about that. But we have different integrations that you can connect to make it so you can get these items ordered for your seller or buyers, okay? At the top of the page, you can create an e-sign packet here. List flash. So this is for everybody else that has list flash as well. This is just letting other people know, hey, this listing is going to be coming on the market pretty soon. MLS Connect. So you can use the MLS Connect and Record Connect features even after creating the transaction. So let's say that you created the transaction, and then after creating the transaction, then you added it to the MLS. You can always come back and use that MLS Connect feature. Start CMA. So this would make it so if you have connected the Cloud CMA tool, you can go ahead and start in CMA from here as well. Apply template here. So we have this fantastic ability to be able to come in and use templates to automatically add particular forms and documents, and even add in particular folders, things like that, onto the system. And so you can actually use our templates feature to add those on automatically for your listing, just saving you quite a bit of time and effort. You can add documents from here. You can email to transactions. By the way, if you do want to learn more about templates, we actually have a free public class that you can take to learn about adding templates and checklists to the system. I will make sure and show you where you can sign up for those, okay? So don't worry, I'll show you where you can sign up for all of our different webinars that cover a myriad of topics, including how to create templates and checklists. We're going to head on to the next section, parties, and we're going to add some parties onto this. So let's add seller 1 and seller 2 first. Seller 1, let's see here. You know, Sarah from the Oregon Real Estate Forms team has been so helpful. So Sarah, I'm going to borrow your first name. She will be my Sarah test seller. I'll then plug in email address and other details. The more details, again, that you add in, the easier this is going to be on your forms. So add in as many details as you possibly can to save yourself quite a bit of time and effort on your forms a little bit later, okay? And also save this to the address book if this is going to be a contact that you're going to work with more than once. We do have an option for a signing representative as well. So save. Seller 2. Oh, I'll just throw myself in there. And I will use the same email address for myself as what I provided Sarah there. You can use the same email address for more than one person. So you can use the same email address for more than one person. Go ahead and select save. If you have worked with a particular party in the past, you can always go to the address book to be able to pull up their information. You'll notice Melissa, the only contact she has right now is herself. I'm borrowing Melissa's account from the Oregon Real Estate Forms team. You can also connect tools like LionDesk, CRM Salesforce Edition, Top Producer, Google Contacts, Microsoft Contacts. So we do have all of that available. Now I'm gonna add myself in as the real estate agent. Of course, I would plug in my firm name and all that as well, but we're going to go ahead and select save. So now I have my 2 sellers and I have the list agent on there as well. If you get into a circumstance, and I get this question pretty often, get into a circumstance where you have more than 4 sellers that you're using, or maybe you have a co-list agent or a co-sales agent. In that circumstance, you're going to scroll down to add other, and that will make it so that you can add in those additional contacts. So if you have seller 5, seller 6, if you have co-list agent, co-sell agent, you can add those as well. Sarah Irving is asking a question about if all of the tools on the summary screen are available. Most of them should be available for use. You can always test it out just to see if you are able to get those to work properly, but they should mostly be available. I'm able to do this on Michelle's account, and Michelle is with the Oregon Real Estate Forms team. So they should, for the most part, be available to you to be able to at least try out. But I mean, if you click on it, Michelle doesn't have List Flash. I was more pointing out what these are. So if you do not have access to them, that's okay. You can always make a request with our support team to find out about how to get them added to your account. But things like MLS Connect are available through your MLS. Okay, so those are available. It's a good question. Thank you for bringing that up, Sarah. Okay, so we added our parties. Let's head on to documents now. One thing that I always suggest adding some folders for organization. You do not have to add folders. This is totally up to you. I like to usually add a working and assigned folder in the very least, very least. But you do not have to add folders. You can make this as simple or as complex as you would like, the organization of it, okay? So go ahead and put together what you prefer. If you added a folder or not, you're still going to be able to add those documents and forms. So if I go here to add doc, my first option is to add in either a document from my computer or from a personal cloud resource like Dropbox, Google Drive, OneDrive. I'm just going to grab an educational item from my computer. I have an exclusive right to represent I like to use. I know that your MLS has an exclusive, a listing contract that they already use. I'm just using this for an educational example. So stick with me, only using this for education. So we're going to push OK on there. Next, we're going to add some forms. So if I go here to add doc, your MLS has provided forms for you to be able to select. You can see quite a few different forms are available. You can also note that there are more than one selectable items on there. So that's commercial forms, Spanish translation forms, and then you have the regional MLS on there as well. If you need to, you can go to all to be able to look through all the different forms that are available, or you can select a particular one, and then you can even start typing to be able to narrow your list down to just the ones that you're looking for. So this is the seller's property disclosure statement. Just going to borrow that one. I might need an addendum or something like that. I can grab that one. And in this case, you could go ahead and add in every single form that you would use during the process, or you can choose just to grab the forms that you need right now. I will say, if you use a template, you can automatically add those forms and documents in. Pretty nice feature. Does save you a little bit of time there. So, take that class on templates so you can learn how to be able to add those items in automatically right when you create the transaction, instead of having to go through this process every single time. Also, you'll notice one says PDF, one says ZFX at the bottom. ZFX, that's my ZipForms. So those are the forms that are coming over from the Oregon Real Estate Forms team. Those forms will automatically add in the details of your transaction and the details of your contact. So they will automatically add in the details of your contact and the details of the transaction. Plus, they will automatically add in signature fields, initial fields, checkmark boxes. All of that will be automatically added in. Okay. With the document, on the other hand, coming from outside the system, it will not be able to automatically add those items in, unfortunately. Okay. With those particular items, you will have to add in the signature portions and all of that. I am going to show you how to do that here in just a moment. Okay. But we put together a form, we put together a document. I would then add in my additional forms, whatever I need. Before we move on, let's talk for a second about the last item on there in the add doc, called a placeholder. A placeholder allows me to add reminders of signed documentation or documentation that I need. For example, if I create a placeholder, I can add in exclusive right to represent and push OK. And this will remind me, not the actual document itself, but it will remind me, hey, this is a document that I have to have signed. It's required. You can also use placeholders as reminders of things that you're going to receive. So for example, the inspection report. I'm not the one that's going to be doing the inspection. Let's say in this circumstance, I needed to have an inspection report for a lead-based inspection, right? So I'm not the one that's going to be performing the inspection. Someone else is. And when they do, they are going to send me that inspection report, right? And so when they send me that inspection report, it's going to go right here. And this is just a reminder that at some point I'm going to receive this. Okay. Also, if you're in Office, we do have the ability, if you would like, you can talk to our support and sales team about this. We do have the ability to upgrade your account to a broker type account. Broker type accounts do allow you to use placeholders for your review compliance processes, okay? So if you have review compliance processes in your office, you can use ZipForm to help you. I would just contact our sales team or our support team to learn more information about that, okay? All right, moving ahead here. Now that we have some forms and documents, let's talk about our brand new forms editor. This is taking the place of the old classic version. So we have our new forms editor. If you click into a form, it should automatically take you into the forms editor, where you can then begin. When you're in here, you can begin to fill out your form, adding in the correct information. You'll notice these blue sections. These sections allow me to pre-fill in details. Okay, not everything, because some of this stuff needs to be filled in by my seller or my signee, but it does allow you to pre-fill in several different fields, right? So I would go through and I would add in the details that I need to add in, wherever those details need to go. I would go ahead and check mark the areas that I am able to check mark. I'd go through and check mark all the areas I need to check mark. You'll notice the system automatically added in the address on there. And if there was additional details, such as the county and things like that, it would also bring that information over. This form doesn't have those options, but other forms will automatically have those items added in. Okay. You can actually make adjustments first to the packet that you're putting together. So what I would do is I come down to the bottom and push the plus to add in the desired form or document, which I added to my transaction earlier. If you forgot something, you could always go to the plus add to be able to either add in a form from the forms library, or to upload a document from your computer or from one of those personal Dropboxes like Dropbox, Google Drive, or OneDrive. You can also change the order of your documents and forms with the 6 little gray dots here. You can also send one item by a check mark, one item to be signed, emailed, downloaded, or printed, or you can even delete it from this page. Also, you can make adjustments to all of your forms at the same time by coming over here to the right-hand side and selecting some of the tools that we have available. So parties here, parties will allow me to be able to make adjustments to a singular party. So I can come in and adjust their phone number and their email address, and then push save, and it will then adjust that on every single form that I have. Next is my listing info page. Listing info will allow me to adjust items for my transactional details. So if I add in a different zip code, it will adjust that on all of my forms at the same time. Offer info, so details about an offer that comes in. You can go ahead and add those details here to automatically add it onto all of your forms. Clauses. Clauses are very special. So if there is a section where you are allowed to fill in a particular text, I don't know if this particular form will have a clauses section that I would add in. Sometimes they do. This one doesn't. But if you do see a section, what you'll do is you'll click in and you'll see a plus clause there to tell you that that particular section does allow a clause to be able to come in and be added in. In that circumstance, you would go to that and then choose from the library of clauses. And you can actually create clauses, your own personal library of clauses, have them here in the bottom. You can select create a clause to then create your own clauses. We even have date options, time options, and drop down menu options as well. So Lots of options to be able to use to make it so you can put your clauses together properly. Last but not least is tools. You can pre-markup and highlight your document even before sending it over to sign. So down here on my document, I can head here to the text box and pre-add in my office name right here if I wanted to. Lone Wolf Technologies. I can increase or decrease the size of the box if I need. I can move the box around. I can even choose the font size. So if that's a little big, I can adjust it. I can choose the color and the font family as well. So you choose how you would like that to look. And we do have a highlight feature as well if you need to highlight particular text. All right, now that we have our document and form filled out the way that we need, we added in the information that we needed to see within the document and form. What we're going to now do is send this over for e-sign. So I'll go to prepare signing at the top. I'll name the packet whatever I want to name it. So first, choose the new AuthentiSign. We do have DocuSign as an available option. DocuSign is a completely separate company, so you do have to purchase DocuSign, unfortunately. But if you purchase DocuSign, you can connect it to your ZipForms system to be able to use it integrated within ZipForm, okay? You have to purchase it on your own, completely separate company. One item on here, Digital Link 2.0, that's our old e-sign system. That's our classic version. That will be going away in the near future. So we have replaced it with the new e-sign, the new AuthentiSign over here on the left-hand side. So that will be going away. DocuSign will not go away. That will be an available option and continue to be an available option. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and send this to the new AuthentiSign. Liza, thank you for joining in. And yes, this all was recorded, and we will be sending the recording later, okay? So pre-list here, packets. I'm naming this. Whatever you name it, it's going to be the subject on your email when you send the packet out. So I would name it something that's easy for you and your client to know what it is. Go ahead and push create. And move now on over into e-sign. So once it enters into e-sign, your first step is to add your participants. So I'm going to go to add participants, add from transaction, and then I'll choose who I need to add. And I will choose what type of signer are they. Do they need to sign something or fill something out? Or do they just need to review the document? They just need to come in and say, yeah, this is good to go. I accept it or decline it. Or should they just be CC'd, meaning that they get a copy of it after everyone has completed their signing part. And by the way, everybody gets a copy after everything has been signed. So whether you're remote sign or review or whatever, everyone gets a copy at the end. So go ahead and push select. It's asking me just to show who's seller one, who's seller two. So I'll assign the blocks. And now it has them, when you put them in there, it will then go ahead and add in all the signatures and the initials and the date parts. It's going to add all of that in for me. You'll notice all the blue sections went away. So when you move it over to AuthentiSign, that's why that new forms editor was so important as a first step, because all those blue sections go away. You won't be able to then fill it out. So if you miss sections, if you put in incorrect information, just back out, go back to the new forms editor, and then re-enter with the new e-sign packet, okay? All right, we do have some additional options for our signers. You can click in to be able to adjust their information. You can change what type of signer they are. Signing pin, this is an extra layer of security that you can add on where they have to your signer has to fill out a password before they're allowed in. So I know some people like that little extra added layer of security. Customized signature, that's going to be for the signing representative mainly. So you don't have to worry about that unless you're dealing with either a signing representative or in the circumstance where there is a preferred name versus a legal name. So maybe the preferred name is in the signing details, but this would be the actual legal name of the individual. Go ahead and save. We can change the order of the signers by selecting set signing order, adjusting it. And then I can drag and drop the order it needs to go in. So I can drag and drop the order it needs to go in. I always set myself up last, by the way, so I have myself as an agent here. I always set myself up as the agent last. That way I can double check to make sure everything was filled out properly. You don't want a missing signature or anything like that. Right. We do have some additional options for docs here where you can adjust the order if you'd like. You can also click into one to be able to make adjustments on here if you need, including adjustments in the page if you need as well. And you can even select particular pages to be able to delete them if you choose to as well. And then push save once you're done. Also, next are additional tools. So while your forms adds in all the signature fields, initial fields, and all that, your documents are not going to be able to add those automatically because they come from outside the system, right? And so what you're going to do in that circumstance is you are going to add in your signer actions, signer fields, and markup. So let's start with markup. We already marked up one item with the office name. I also need to add the office name down here. So I'd go to markup text box and plug it in. And then I can drag and drop this where it needs to go. And I can click into it to make adjustments on it if I need to. Signer fields, this is going to be the name feature on here, auto date. So I just click on it and drag it where it needs to go. These will automatically add in when that person enters in to begin signing. So it automatically will add in when that person comes in to begin signing. And then signer actions. This means that they have to perform an action of some kind. So first, we have a sign here. And then we have the printed name, I forgot. We also have signer actions such as checkmark boxes and text lines and initial pages. Let's talk about for a second the difference between a radio choice and a checkbox. So a radio choice is going to be a one-to-many option. So this is 1 out of 2 options. I can make it 1 out of 3, 1 out of 4, however many I would like to add in. And so essentially I'm saying, okay, you have these options available to you. You have to pick one of them, right? The checkmark box, on the other hand, is 1-to-1. So if I grab a checkmark box, if I leave it like this with the red square and the red star, this would make it so that it's required. They have to choose it to be able to continue. If I run into a circumstance where it needs to be optional instead, what I would do is I would just click on it and turn off the requirement. So now it's optional for them to choose that if they'd like. They don't have to pick it. It's there. It's an option if they would like. Okay, hopefully that makes sense to everybody. Just looking here real quick to see if there's any questions. Yvonne, this is being recorded, and a recording will go out within 48 hours of the presentation. So thank you. Thank you for your question. All right, moving ahead. We have additional signers here. One really cool feature is that all signers. So, in this instance where both my clients need to sign, I could instead go here to all signers, push sign here, and it will add all the signatures for every single signer at the same time. That's a really neat feature to save yourself a little bit of time there. I'm going to delete that though, because I want to talk about another great feature called myself. I'm not talking about literally myself. It's just a fantastic feature that we have called Myself, where you can actually come in and pre-sign your documents and forms even before getting them sent out. Really, really fantastic feature. So what we're going to do is we're going to click sign here. It's going to ask us to accept the terms and conditions. This is just saying, yes, I agree to using an electronic solution for signing. I do agree to using that. And so I would push I accept, and then I need to create my signature. I can either use a style. I can draw a signature, which I'm just going to draw a big void here, because I don't want to actually sign this document. You can also upload a particular signature there. So I'm just making that a big void because I'm not actually trying to sign for Melissa. Not only can you do this on your documents, you can also scroll to the areas where you need to sign. So if there was somewhere on this form that I, as the agent, needed to sign, I could actually delete that and then add in my signature instead. So great fields, making your life a little bit easier when you're trying to get items signed. Okay. Really great fields to be able to go through, though. Okay. Moving on. Layouts. Just want to briefly talk about layouts. Layouts will allow me to be able to, so that document here at the top, you notice how I added in all the signature fields and I added in all the additional lines and everything. I could save myself quite a bit of time and effort right here in the layouts field by going in and creating a layout. If I create a layout, what will happen is the next time that I have this circumstance come up where I run into a circumstance where they need me to fill this document in, right? What I can actually do is I can apply the layout to automatically add in all those different fields. Like I said, but just trying to save myself quite a bit of time and effort, right? So this would give me a great option to be able to add those items in very quickly, instead of going through the process of every single time I run into this, I have to, come in and add in all those signature lines, add in all those additional fields every single time. So instead of that, what I did was I created the layout to make it so that I can automatically add those items instead. Okay. Great fields there just to be able to save you time and effort. That's what we're all about, trying to save you as much time and effort as possible. I would then push next, get this sent out. I can customize the invite if I'd like, or I can send it. I'm not going to send it because I'll go ahead and send it actually because it's just under my email address. Just not going to sign anything. I'll delete it afterwards. So I'll push send. And now that that is sent out, I can track it here under eSign. I can track it. I can actually go into it and adjust the email addresses on it. I can reset it or resend it, duplicate it, or add CC if I would like on there as well. So a lot of different options that we have available. If you need to be able to reset or readjust or anything like that onto your forms and documents you send out for eSign. All right. We do have additional resources available if you want to learn more about the program. So what you can do is head to our help section here at the top. That's that question mark here in the top right. This will take you to, Desiree is asking, before I move on though, can you delete an envelope? What you'll do is you're going to reset it, which will take it back to draft. After you have reset it, go back here. And you should have the additional option to delete it. You have to reset it first because you have to say, no, I don't want that to be sent out. So then you'll have the option to delete it. Okay, good question. Thanks, Desiree. All right, now moving on to the help section. Question mark here in the top right allows you to go to the Learning Center. The Learning Center has all kinds of additional resources. So you have links that you can click on. Now, one of the links I want to talk about is that live training link, because that will take you to our list of all kinds of webinars that we have available. These webinars are available live throughout the month. We even have some specialty classes, like coming up this week, we have a special class. It's a 1-hour special class on the purchase transaction. So if you want to go through essentially the class that I went through today, but for a purchase instead of an offer, or excuse me, a purchase instead of a list side, then check out that class. I'd love to have you on. It's completely free for you to be able to join in. So please connect. I'd love to be able to assist you with more parts of the program, okay? So check it out. We'd love to have you on the class. We also have some short link videos and written out help guides that are printable, that you can pull anything that you need from there as well. So printable guides to go through if you need. Sarah is asking if e-sign is free. So the AuthentiSign part, that is being provided through the resources that you have available to you. So you'll notice that Melissa was able to get in there without a problem. So that is being provided to everyone that would like to be able to connect in. Okay, good question. Good question. Thank you. So it should be provided without any issue. All right. I'd like to thank everybody for taking the time out of your day to be able to go through this with me together. We went through quite a few resources there, all kinds of different items to be able to learn about and dig into. As mentioned previously, this was recorded, and I will be sending out a recording a little bit later to the Oregon team so that they can get that added into their training resources. Also, we do have a wonderful customer support team. They are available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I would give them a call with any questions that you may have. So give them a call, send them an email. They're more than happy to assist with anything that may come up along the way. Again, I'd like to thank everybody that was able to connect today. Thank you so much for joining in. I really appreciate it. I don't see any additional questions, but be on the lookout for that email, that recording. Beyond that, thank you for connecting, and I hope everybody has a wonderful day.